All right, well, it wouldn't be a live stream without a live interruption. That was my timer. I'm not sure why it went off. But yeah, so if you are joining me just now, hi, welcome to the stream. My name is DLP. I'm an author, I'm an artist, and in my day job, I'm an educator. So for now, though, I'm just an author and an artist, and I just shared with you a live reading of the story that's shown here on Canva. Yeah, so let's go ahead, let's move on. I'm going to talk a little about some more stuff involving Sonic now for the rest of the stream. So if you came here for Sonic, then you're in luck, because that's what pretty much the rest of the stream is going to be about. If you came here for my stories, thank you. If you came here for my read, hey, thanks. If you're stopping in and checking out, that's totally cool. The VOD will be posted to YouTube soon. So let's move on. Let's get some Sonic news going. So let's talk a little bit about something that could be considered, dangerous. It could be considered disastrous. And in fact, let's go from Sonic at the desk here in the main newsroom to Silver. Silver, what have we got? Oh, we have the Flames of Disaster. What's that? Oh no, what's that? Could it be? It is! Alright, it is Live and Learn. It's Live and Learn time. So that was the intro to the iconic song from Sonic Adventure 2. It's called Live and Learn. And I found out recently through the Sonic Stadium community which I'm a part of, which by the way, my handle there is BabyRaptor9. Same handle is on my YouTube and on my Twitch. In case you want to, befriend me on there, see what I'm posting on Sonic Stadium. Hey, live and learn there. But anyway, Live and Learn is the titular theme song to Sonic Adventure 2. And this is an interesting story that I thought I'd cover in my Twitch stream, because I know a lot of folks are talking about it online, and I think folks are misunderstanding what this lawsuit is actually about. And I don't think that they really fully understand what is happening here in terms of copyright issue and licensing and all of that, because it's complicated as an artist. So I want to share with you folks a little bit about this. I personally do not have a legal background, just FYI. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to represent anybody in this case. I don't represent either side. I'm not, witness on either side. So I am, free to speak my mind on this. And I hope that you check this out, because this is an actual thing that's happening. So Johnny Gioeli is the singer that's shown here in this pose that I thought was perfect for, fighting off against Sega. So Johnny Gioeli is a singer that is part of a band called Crush 40, if you weren't aware. So Crush 40 is a band that plays specifically for Sonic the Hedgehog video game titles, starting with Sonic Adventure 2 and going on through the years. I think folks refer to it as butt rock. So it's like, it's that kind of like punk rock kind of sound with that edgy, metal, heavy metal blend, very much like guitar riff stuff. And Live and Learn is one of the main Sonic themes in the modern Sonic franchise. So starting with Sonic Adventure 2, going through all the other games later on, Live and Learn was like the theme that whenever you think of Sonic, modern Sonic, you think of this song. At least, from the inception and creation of the lyrics and all that. So Johnny Gioeli, who is part of Crush 40, in addition to Jun Senoue, these two artists, they collaborated to make the songs that are featured on these Sonic games. And Live and Learn was one of those songs from Sonic Adventure 2, among many, many others. So Johnny Gioeli is actually suing SEGA of America for the rights to this song and for compensation for performing this song over the years. So I want to get into the lawsuit itself, because this is something that I don't think a lot of folks are really covering in too much detail online. I have seen people on YouTube talking about this, but I haven't really seen in-depth coverage of the law, that they don't break it down for the summary part, case by case, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm actually going to get into reading here what this says and why this is happening. So Johnny Gioeli has been part of Crush 40 for over 20 years. He's a fantastic artist. I love his music. I love the way he sings. He's not bad looking either, okay? So, he's a pretty good looking dude. But he is singing, like, all these songs. And SEGA is known. And many companies, all right, folks, let me just put this out there. As an artist myself, as an independent artist myself, and as someone that has decided to put the copyright on my own works, by the way. So my original story that I shared with you at the beginning of this Twitch session, Yara's Crossing, which is available now through booksellers and stuff like that, and through Ko-fi, which is posted in the chat bot. That story is something that I filed with the Copyright Office, U.S. Copyright Office. And you can do that as an artist with any work that you produce that is your individual, your original work. So fan works, like the fan fiction piece I just read to you, fan art, like that is where there's a gray area, and often, unfortunately, fan works are things that are typically not paid for. However, in this instance, Johnny Gioeli was hired by SEGA of America to write this song for this video game. So in that way, he was doing a job. He was contracted to do this. Now, before this, like, Gioeli was in, I think, a few other metal bands and stuff. He has his own gigs and things that he does, like, independent of Crush 40, but Crush 40 is really where he made his fame, and that's with this song. So what's happened here is that SEGA of America and most companies do this too, like I was saying before I interrupted myself, thanks to ADHD. Thanks to distractions. So SEGA America, most companies, if you're an artist, you have to be very careful and very mindful of the work that you produce, because companies have a tendency to rip artists off. Even my story that I just shared with you could easily be ripped off by SEGA, by Paramount, by, like, whatever. And honestly, I would actually be flattered because it's fan art anyway, and I know that because there's a gray area and I can't charge you for it, it's fine. But if they took my original stories that I shared with you earlier, so, like, let's say I were, if I were to share through Twitch or through YouTube a reading of my original work, and some company person was like, yoink, then I would sue. Okay, because they took the work that I had under copyright and said, no, we're not doing this. Okay, so he, in many ways, has the right to do that because he was contracted by SEGA, but he's the one that wrote the lyrics to Live and Learn. So he's the one that actually wrote the body of the song. And it's Jun Senoue and him that played it as well with the musical instruments and composed it and all that stuff. So it's really Gioeli who was the person that was in charge of composing and writing the lyrics to the song. And so that's where there's an issue here. So I think that's what a lot of folks are getting wrong. Like, when they're reading this legalese, I think people are misinterpreting what's happening here, and they think that this is like another Ken Penders situation. I might talk about Ken Penders in another Twitch stream. I don't really want to, but he's infamous, notorious in the Sonic franchise too. So people are saying, like, oh, it's just like another Ken Penders thing. I'm going to disagree with you there. And I'm going to actually say that I know Ken Penders is a questionable individual, and some of the choices that he made with the characters that he created, that's not the argument in this instance. What I'm arguing here is the principle that when artists create works, they have a right to those works under copyright law in the United States. Now, I'm not sure how this works overseas. So honestly, I'm not sure how this works in Japan. I'm not sure how this works like in other countries. If it's similar or different copyright laws, it depends on the country. And so if you're coming from the UK or from Australia or Japan or wherever, there's different laws that affect your rights as an artist and as what you can produce. So I know that, depending on where you are, there's variability there. So I'm going to say in terms of, like, and even with the Ken Penders versus Archie situation, I certainly think that there is merit to that story where Archie took the money and ran. I think the same situation is happening here where SEGA has not paid its dues to Gioeli. I definitely feel that that is something that happens all the time with artists in any industry you talk to. And in particular with music artists and things like that, because you know, and it's exploitation basically. And companies will do it. You know, I should know as an educator. Okay, I'm a very exploited person. I totally get it. Like I totally don't blame him for turning this around and saying, hey, no, you know, I need my I need my compensation and my piece of the pie, because, you know, Sega's making off like a bandit with this song. Because Live and Learn has apparently been in over 20 different titles beyond Sonic Adventure 2. Now, a lot of folks are upset too because Gioeli's not a Sonic fan in the sense that he is, but he's not like a hardcore gamer. And that's fair. I mean, honestly, I think a lot of Sonic fans, in general, Sonic fans will get up in arms and start frothing at the mouth because not every Sonic fan is like a hardcore gamer. Okay, so not every Sonic fan has played all the titles, okay, or knows like all the ways in which their song has been input. I mean, if somebody took my story Eras Crossing and they decided to adapt it to different things, I probably wouldn't know. I probably wouldn't find out until like years later. I'd be like, hey, what the hell? So, you know, these kinds of things happen. So I think, you know, my verdict is, before I even read through the whole lawsuit, that I honestly feel that Gioeli is in the right to do this. But let's read through it, and I want you to draw your own conclusions because, you know, hey, I know it's the internet, and I know everybody's going to be all, you know, fighting over who's right and who's wrong. So let's get into it, right? Well, we got to live and learn, right? So let's look into what the complaint is. It's for declaratory relief, whatever that means, I'm not sure. A breach of contract, accounting, and unjust enrichment. So there's a jury trial that's demanded. This was filed actually this month, so December 2024 is of this recording. So let's get into this. And again, this is all posted, by the way, through a website that I've got on the next slide. There's an original document here through Polygon. So Polygon is the website that I found this from. It's posted in full, so you can and you can probably also Google it and find this through case law. So this is just posted. This is the entire first couple pages of the lawsuit. I'm not going to read through the whole thing because I already did a lot of reading tonight. You know, even though this is just chatting, I don't really want this to be like, let's read law together, kids. No. But I did want to talk a little about I want to clarify some things here because I think folks get things confused. So first and foremost, why is this happening, right? So usually they talk about like what's going on here. So this is a civil action seeking a declaratory judgment, damages for breach of contract, and accounting, and restitute for unjust enrichment arising from the defendant's improper assertion. So the defendant is Sega America. Sega's improper assertion of their sole ownership over the sound recording and musical composition Live and Learn, and subsequent exclusive exploitation thereof. So once again, I mentioned it just previously, right? So exploitation. Okay. Gioeli has performed and maintained his songwriting registration for Live and Learn for over 20 years, since he wrote and recorded the song, which is initially included on Sega's video game Sonic Adventure 2. Unbeknownst to Gioeli, Sega has exploited and licensed Live and Learn to release 25 video games, television shows, live performances, events, and films. Sega asserts that they own Live and Learn, based on a 2001 lyric agreement where Gioeli, the plaintiff, was paid $3,000 to write lyrics for an as-yet untitled song that would be included in Sonic Adventure 2. So, right away the question is, who owns this work? Who owns Live and Learn? Is it Gioeli that owns it? Is it Sega that owns it? Because like I was saying before, what I understand from the legalese is that Sega had contracted, that's why they paid him, they contracted Gioeli to write this song. The title of the song was unknown at the time, but he was contracted to do this, right? And he was paid up front $3,000. They're like, here you go. Here's an advance or whatever. Here's the money. Or royalties. I'm not sure how royalties work. Maybe that's the issue too, and that's a whole other can of worms I don't want to get into tonight, but I know that royalties are an issue, like through Spotify, musicians are getting shafted. I know that too, when you write stories, if you're not self-published like me, then you work with a publisher, and the publisher company gets a percentage of your profit. So they take like a certain chunk, usually more than half, and then you get whatever's left. after the editor gets paid, after the distributor gets paid, whatever, right? So you get the pennies off the money, depending on the deal that you strike with the publishing company or with in this case with the licensing company, right? Then you get a certain amount every single time the song plays. So let's say every time Live and Learn plays, Gioeli's supposed to get, 25 cents. And let's say that's not happening, like for the past 20 years. Well, that's a lot of cents to pay back. So that's basically what's happening here. So let's get deeper into it, because I got a couple pages that I pulled from the actual document. But I hope this makes sense. I just want to clarify some things here, because I noticed, like I said, I noticed a lot of people online are talking about this stuff, and I'm like, I don't think people really understand what's happening here, because people are getting upset because they're comparing it to they're comparing apples to oranges. They're comparing the Penders lawsuit with this, and I'm like, you can't do that, because this is a different situation here. Yes, it deals with Sega. Yes, it deals with Sonic, but it's a different horse race. So let's get into that. So Gioeli arranged, produced, recorded, and performed vocals out of his home studio in California, using his own equipment without the supervision, control, or involvement of Sega. So, in other words, Sega said, here's $3,000, do what you will, whatever, right? So they basically paid him off, and then he was free to do what he wanted, I guess, is what they basically are saying here. His assertion that they somehow own 100% of both the master recording and musical composition is without basis. So in other words, they don't have any proof that they own that. There's no agreement purporting to transfer the master recordings to Sega. The Gioeli was at no relevant time an employee, and okay, so Gioeli was not an employee. He was a contracted artist. And this is, again, the gray area that employers like to do with employees. So, folks, whenever you get a contract to work for somebody, please read the fine print. Be careful with that sign. Don't sign your life away, okay? Be careful, because this is something where, folks, like, it's so critical to, like, just be mindful of what you're getting into. And unfortunately, this is one of those situations where when you're young and you need the money, it's hard, right? It's hard out here. Just like now, it's rough out here, right? It's rough out here right now. You can imagine, like, even 20 years ago, same thing, right? So folks have struggled, time immemorial with income. But so Gioeli was, I guess, in a pickle, needed the money, took it, but as he was writing this, I don't think he realized, like, the contract that he got himself into. But let's get into it. So Sega's knowledge and prior correspondence, which, again, they'll probably have to provide proof of this in the court. The composition is likely jointly owned. As a musician, and that musician being Jun Senoue, did write instrumental melodies and arrangements for Live and Learn. However, the only portion of the composition is expressly limited to the lyrics and does not extend to the musical melodies, arrangement, or other elements. So, what Sega is arguing is that Jun Senoue and Johnny Gioeli, they worked together on this because of Crush 40. And so because of that, they're saying, well, Gioeli only did the lyrics, so that's all he's going to get from the cut. And then Jun Senoue is going to get this amount, basically, is what they're trying to say. They're trying to say, no, it was 50-50. Like, we're not going to, so there's waffle, right? And so that's basically what's going on here. So, what Gioeli is looking for is a decision to determine the ownership of the copyrights and further for accounting restitution for any monies collected, to which he's entitled. So you're basically saying, look, I wrote the song, I put in the work, pay me what I'm owed. And this is a story, this is a tale as old as time, okay? This happens all the time with artists getting screwed over, and unfortunately, that's what it's had to come to this. It had to go to court. To get the money back. So this really sucks all around. It's one of those kinds of situations where, I honestly hope that Gioeli, is able to settle with Sega for this, and they're able to settle this in court or out of court or whatever. Because Live and Learn, that title, that theme, is something that is so quintessential to the Sonic franchise, and I think it would be a huge blunder on Sega's part to, like, not settle this. And to not, come with some kind of determination, because I think it's just going to come back to bite them in the butt. And if they have to produce a meaty soundtrack to Sonic Adventure 2 to make up for that, ooh, this could be bad. So I honestly hope that Gioeli wins out on this. That's my take on it. But it was a very interesting. So again, this article came up because I am part of Sonic Stadium, and I found this very interesting case, and I just want to talk about it because I personally have an interest in the music of the Sonic franchise. I'm a musician myself, although I have not played in many years. I'm an artist, I'm an author, and so I totally get it, like it from the standpoint of, not being paid what you're worth. And I think Johnny should get it. He needs to get, paid what he's worth, because that guy has, like, carried a lot of the Sonic games. Like, without his music in the background, like, those games would have been bad. So, I don't know. Live and learn. We'll see what happens. Twitch. My user handle there is BambiRaptor9 Twitch. It's all lowercase. So my next streams are going to be this coming Saturday and Sunday. On Saturdays, I do a Just Chatting stream where I talk about my creative projects, what's going on with that, fan fiction, stuff like that. And then on Sundays are the game streams where you can watch me play a game live. So feel free to go ahead and sign up, subscribe to my stream. Thank you all so much for your support here on YouTube. I really appreciate it. And the VODs will be posted here to YouTube after the Twitch stream has concluded. Probably within about 24 to 48 hours, the VODs will be posted. So once again, thank you so much for supporting me in my channel, and I look forward to seeing you all on Twitch.